Short-Term Health Effects in Hiroshima and Nagasaki by Emma Nathanson. In my presentation, I will be discussing burns, general injuries, radiation, and death statistics in Hiroshima and Nagasaki as a direct result from the atomic bombs dropped. At the end of World War II, the U.S. dropped 2 atomic bombs on Japan. The first bomb, also known as Little Boy, was dropped over Hiroshima at 8:15 a.m. on August 6, 1945. The second bomb, also known as Fat Man, was dropped on Nagasaki at 11:02 by one of 2 B-29 planes seen flying over the city. This attack occurred only 3 days after the practically identical attack on Hiroshima. The attacks in Nagasaki landed in the industrial valley of the city. The most common injury in both Hiroshima and Nagasaki were burns. There were 2 types of burns, flash and flame. Flash burns could occur to any exposed skin and were caused by the intense heat waves, or flashes, emitted by the atomic bombs. Flash burns were shallow, but would cause redness, blistering, and scarring. The closer a person was to the center, the more severe their burns would be. In some cases, burns would even go through clothing, especially if it was black. They could be obtained from structures that had been set ablaze, such as houses and buildings, or from the raging fires that were 4.4 square miles wide in Hiroshima and 2 square miles wide in Nagasaki. Aside from the burns, there were many other gruesome and fatal injuries. People were hit with soaring debris, which became airborne from the blast or collapsing structures. The high-pressure blast also flung people nearby into the air, causing them to be hurled back onto the ground. Although it is difficult to pinpoint exact numbers because of the chaos and presence of undocumented foreign workers, the total amount of injuries in Hiroshima was around 70,000 people. In Nagasaki, the number was lower at around 60,000 people. This was because the hills of the industrial valley protected some of the blast's impact. Even though most radiation effects and illnesses took longer to develop, there were plenty of cases of severe short-term health consequences. In Hiroshima and Nagasaki, the atomic blast released huge amounts of energy. It was equal to about 16 kilotons of TNT and was about 10 times as bright as the sun. The gamma particles released from the explosion caused sickness that affected the blood first, then the organs, and then the lymphatic system. This could cause vital organs to become weak or fail. In severe instances, one may have become necrotic, meaning cells died prematurely. Cases like these almost always ensured death. Similar to the injuries, death statistics differ from source to source because of its difficulty to document. Despite this, it is known that most deaths were instantaneous. In Hiroshima, 70,000 to 80,000 people died as a result of the explosion or from burns. And by December, the total was up to 90 to 120,000 as a result of injuries or radiation sickness. In Nagasaki, 35,000 to 65,000 people died within a few days of August 9th, and by December, up to 80,000 had perished. We can conclude that the detrimental explosions changed Hiroshima and Nagasaki forever. The injuries and illnesses caused irreversible damage that resonates within people till this day. We can see that one instance created so many consequences in such a short amount of time, whether it was through flash burns or through losing a loved one. It is important to be aware of an event like this, as horrific as its repercussions were, to share respect for the victims and gain hope in the future. Thank you for listening.